Hey YouTube, coming at you with Beyond the Hype. So this is the last one of the series for the Great League, looking at new Pokemon with new moves and cutting through the hype and just telling you whether they are good or not and the pros and cons and all the strengths and not just hyping it up. Cetitan. So the reason I'm using Cetitan instead of C Total, or Total, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. I'm sure I'll get it in the comments. Drop it down below. How do you actually pronounce it? The main difference is same typing. Exact same typing, exact same moveset. C total, lower attack stat, slightly higher defense, slightly higher stamina, overall stat product higher to go with the level 50, while C Titan is slightly higher attack, but lower defense, lower stamina, lower overall stat product, and like 33 levels below, right? So that is your main difference. But what I'm going to say about C Titan will relate to C Total because the movesets are the same and the typing is the same. And both of those are the key issues here. So let's just go over this stat product in terms of thing. It's a very interesting one because it's super low defense. So if you watch my video on what's the difference between defense and stamina, stamina is your HP, like how many HP points does your Pokemon have. And then defense is how well you could take like charge moves. So very low on the charge moves. And this is very similar to Guzzlord. So if you watch so Guzzlord is 265 stamina, so very, very HP heavy, but like very low defense, 63.9. And if you watched my video on Umbreon the other day, you would have seen me just throw resisted because I was running Foul Play Psychic. I was just throwing resisted foul plays, and I took Guzzlord down to a red because those charge moves add up on a bad defense. 75.9, bad defense. So charge moves are going to add up on despite having a lot of stamina, a lot of HP, these charge moves will add up on this Pokemon quickly. So just keep that in mind when you're using it. Okay, it got Powder Snow. So Powder Snow is probably one of the top, I would argue the top like 5 fast moves in the game. Like we all know, yeah, it's probably like maybe 5 to 8 because Incinerate, Shadow Claw, Counter are probably the top 3 undisputed. And then if you want just like energy is like Lock On and Mud Shot. And then Powder Snow is an interesting one because it's a nice energy generating move. 4 energy per turn is really, really quick energy generation. But you also have 3 damage per turn, and that's not inconsequential. So there's times that you can Powder Snow down here. So having the fast energy and a decent amount of damage per turn is huge for a fast move. So huge improvement in terms of the fast moves. You really only have 2 moves you can run here: Avalanche or Body Slam. There's no reason to run Heavy Slam. The worst in the energy, the worst in the damage per energy. So you run with the quick Body Slam, 1.7, again, non-stab, 35 for 60. And then Stab Avalanche, which is like a nuke for 45 energy, right? 45 energy, 108 damage, 2.4 damage, right? So 45 energy, 2.4 damage. We love to see that. So with Powder Snow Avalanche combo with the Body Slam bait, I think the movesets are good. The typing is not good. You are an ice Pokemon, so you're weak to fighting, fire, rock, and steel. And you only have 1 resistance, and that is ice. So let me, not that I want you to click off my video, please watch the entire video right to the end, please. But there's no reason to use this over Dugong. You should be using, in terms of an ice Pokemon, there's just, I don't care that Dugong is ranked 120. There really is no reason to run it otherwise. Like I know Dugong also has that water typing, so you pick up the electric weakness and a grass weakness, but you resist water, which is everywhere, and you neutralize steel, and you have the drill run for coverage. And so there's 2 really big issues that I found with this Pokemon. The first is just a pure ice typing is not good. Fighting, fire, rock, and steel is kind of everywhere in this meta, right? Ever since the Empoleon and Skarmory got Steel Wing, your Bastiodons and Carbonks have your rocks. Now And Typhlosion is coming out with Incinerate, and there's other Incinerate users that people like using, like Skeledirge, Talonflame to a certain extent, and then Salazzle if you're getting spicy. And then fighters are everywhere, right? Annihilate is on a ton of teams. Medi's still around. People, I've seen Vigoroth a couple times now. So many of the main meta is what you are weak to with a pure ice type. And the other problem that I found was like against other ice types, quite honestly, because you can only throw the body slam spam against other ice types, and depending on what they were, they can either hit you sort of neutral, or like a bomb snow has an energy ball can hit you. No, wait, that's not right. But like it just seemed like you didn't have a lot of like amazing matchups. Again, ice, pure ice is good for flyers. It's good for dragons. But and again, you're not like resisting any of those. Not that you need to resist those, but like I just like to only have one resistance, and to it be a mirror match of ice, where there's not a lot of there's like Dugong and ACN and stuff like that, but like there's not a ton of ice Pokemon to begin with. Like that's kind of one of a few weaknesses there. So I found the weaknesses in just the typing, too many weaknesses in the main meta, not enough resistances that matter here. The movesets were decent overall, but obviously with Body Slam and Avalanche, Steel resists everything. So keep that in mind, that Steel resists everything. And then there's also like Skeledirge as the weird fire ghost type that resists everything too. So there are a couple Pokemon that actually just resisted everything you have to throw at it. So I found team building very tricky. So you're going to see recommended team. So basically you need to have answers to these four. And like I said, these four are sort of everywhere. So the main one that I would use, they recommend Swampert because resist fire, resist rock, hit super, like earthquake, hit super effective against steel, which is why I started with, I used 3 teams. So I started with Whiscash, because basically you cover those 3. And then I'm like, the only one I can't cover pure there was the Annihilate. So I chose a flyer to cover Annihilate, right? So I did that. I got a couple battles with that. And I think team 3, I forgot to save it, but team 3, my loss was against an ice type Pokemon, because the waters are, I think it was like Dugong or something, because Dugong hit super effective against Gligar, resisted the Scald on Whiscash, and resisted the Powder Snow Avalanche, so you can only throw Body Slam. So I think it was something like that was just like, this team's maybe a little too weak. So then team number 2, I was like, okay, let's just go, instead of Gligar, let's just go like a more safe Pokemon like Lickitung. And then I'm like, so I was like, oh yeah, so you're double weak to fighting. This is not bad because you can draw out a fighter there. And then I was like, okay, well, Whiscash isn't really an answer to fighter. So I did this for a few battles. And then I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do double weak to fighting in the back, let's actually use the proper answer to a fighter in the front, Gligar. And again, when you have no answer for steel, right? Body Slam, Avalanche, Powder Snow, all resisted, you need to have at least one answer for steel. So that's why I have to use Gligar. If I'm going to use this double weak to fighting, use Gligar. So I don't know if I've actually found a team that I like with it. And again, I think it's just kind of the limitations on this Pokemon. Right off the bat here is a nice, at least it's just a neutral ice type Pokemon. So Scald is still neutral. So I'll take the first move. They get out into Swampert. So I'm going to chip here first. And then I am going to shield. I was about to say, what am I doing here? Am I going to try and grab shields here? I don't have a good matchup. Like, I should be... that's the thing. Gligar is kind of useless right now against both of these Pokemon. I'm going to go down. What I think I'm going to do is come in and just try and Powder Snow. Okay, so I get one more move off, which is nice. So I'll grab a shield or take this out. But if I take this out, like, where do I go? I just have to go back to Cetitan if I... Right? So I have to go back. At least Powder Snows from their end are resisted too. So now it's a... Who can do the best non-stab charge move? So we have Psyshock here. And again, right? Like, look how... Just focus on how much damage is being done with these charge moves. This is a very, very bulky Pokemon, taking a significant amount of non-stab side shocks from a Ninetales. So Pro, as you're seeing here, Body Slam spam is very real, especially on an energy generating move of 4 energy per turn. So you're getting to these Body Slams real quick. So I'm going to outpace this, which is a Pro. The con is these side shocks like added up. That side shocks and resisted get to here. Now, hello in the back. It is a flyer, which you can't discount the fact that there are a lot of flyers in this meta, right? Gligar, Mandibuzz, Mantine, Pelipper, Tropius if you get it on the grass team. So ice is nice, like nice to have from that perspective, but again, there's just so many weaknesses in this meta to ice. Or like ice is weak to so many things in the meta. So just keep that in mind. Poliwrath, right? So Trouble, again, this is where I was like starting to be like, okay, Trouble, can't throw Scald here. I can have an answer for in the back with this, but I can't go right away because then they made switch right away. So I just kind of have to play this matchup out. So they're going to Icy Wind me, which means that this Mud Bomb is not going to be anywhere close to taking them out, which means they're going to be able to take switch here, which is okay. Let them take switch. I'll get a couple wing attacks off. But I'm assuming if they have a Poliwrath, they probably have an answer to a flyer in the back here. So I'm going to come in and wing attack, and I expect to be just hit with an answer immediately. So we'll have to see what that answer is here. Greedent, not the best answer. Okay. So I'm going Dig. Greedent's one of those interesting ones where it's like bulky enough. I don't know if Dig is the right one, or like I can just go Air Release with all these wing attacks. They shielded. So immediately I'm thinking like, okay, what do they have in the back that they shielded a first move on Gligar? So let's see if I decide to just, no, I'm not saving it. I'm just trying to go one shield this in the back. So again, let's see if I take the first Body Slam because I just want to see how much it does, right? So again, you do have an okay amount of bulk here, like stamina, but then just realize that the moves will add up quickly, right? So I took a Body Slam and now neutral Shadow Claws are putting me in the red. And that's kind of how this Pokemon felt a lot of the time. It just felt like I have all the stamina, and maybe it's different with C total. But I have all this stamina, but I'm just getting like destroyed with like fast and charge moves left, right, and center here. But the Body Slam, Powder Stone Body Slam, again, you would want to go Avalanche if you can the majority of the time. And it's decently charging, so it's not bad there. Good lead here. I've got the Lickitung in here on the back. I should have come Lickitung here. I remember even in the moment being like, oh, this is not the right play. I should have come Lickitung. Especially that they're probably like have a second. If they're grass here, fire on the lead, they probably have a second grass on the back. So if I came Lickitung, I'd probably hard counter this team. But now I have to like commit to the farm down. I don't need to actually. I could have let this go and then come in like Lickitung or something, but what I'm thinking is I need to, like, I think I knew my switch clock was like almost up and I'm at 2 Avalanche, right? So if my switch clock's up and I can bank an Avalanche and get into Lickitung, I'm going to do that. And that's exactly what happens there. So chip with Avalanche, bank an Avalanche, come in with Lickitung, do super effective licks. It's now low enough that I can just lick down. I really don't need to throw a move here. And I may throw a move just to take him out before they get a move off. Yeah, I don't need to. I could farm down, but then I'd have to take another Disarming Voice. So I'd rather just take it out now. What's in the back? A Zoom Roll. So I know I have an Avalanche banked, which means I have at least a Body Slam and a half. They shield this. They threw pretty fast, which is good. So now it's just like, do I come in immediately with C-Titan and just Body Slam, or do I see how much I can do with Whiscash? Well, first of all, I'm not going to get farmed down that extra bubble. So get out of there. As soon as my switch clock reset, you got to get out of there. Don't let them get that extra like bubble or two, bubble you down for no reason there. Came in here because Whiscash is pretty spammy. That these Mud Bombs will chip enough to put it in body slam range. And Azumarill is just too slow on the charge. What I'm saying is like they'll get to this move, but they won't be able to be anywhere near another move, which means I'll very easily just be able to go here and body slam. So I'm almost at 2 body slams, right? I banked an avalanche. I'm almost at 2 body slams. So there's the first one, and that's all I need. So Charge Bug, obviously a good lead, and they're not leaving. And this is where it gets kind of interesting, right? Because it's an otherwise good lead. X's are still neutral. You're doubly to fighting in the back. Most of the fighters in this meta, the majority of them are Medi and Annihilate, which you will also hit super effective against with Lick. So it's one of those like, do I need to get out right away? Yes, but no at the same time. So I'm just going to play this out and just hope for the best here, which I should be worried about a fighter because there's a Charge Bug on the lead. So it's a fair Thorn. So I'm immediately, again, no point of getting farmed down just for them to come out with a ton of moves. And then I'd rather just come Lick a Tongue and do some like chip damage with Lick and some body slams here. So I know body slam is resisted, but yeah, you are now in the back, have no moves for steals, right? Both have body slam, and one has a power whip, one has a I know I mistimed that. Actually, the game linked. I didn't mistime that. An avalanche, right? So I have no moves for steals in the back, but you're seeing here, I was good enough to just like chip this a bunch. And again, I could have thrown and grabbed a shield, but I decided like maybe I'll just come out with energy. Maybe they have like double grass or something in the back, and it is a Feraligatr. So the question is, will one Hydro Cannon take me out as a very low defensive Pokemon, but with a high stamina? So I just live, right? So it did like 85% that they can just claw down, and these body slams are not doing anything. So it's kind of a weird Pokemon. I don't think it's anything that you need to add into your what was I gonna say? Your inventory of Great League Pokemon. Oh yeah, I remember winning this. I'm like, why would they just let me lick down and then just come out with a move? I guess Claws resisted, but still gave me the win con there. Again, this is where I realized, man, maybe you should put like a flyer on the lead if you're going to be double weak to fighting in the back. Yeah, I just don't see a reason to use this Pokemon if I have Dugong. Like, I get that you're putting, but here's the thing, like, people argue like, why are you going to use Dugong when there's lanterns everywhere? Well, it's not like this Pokemon's going to beat Lantern, right? Because Powder Snow and Avalanche are resisted. You can only throw non-stab body slam, so you're going to lose against Lantern anyways. And it's not safe, right? You don't have enough resistances. You don't have coverage moves. Like, there's no reason to use this Pokemon over Dugong, quite honestly. The body slam spam is nice, but as you saw, like, it did like less than 50%, like 45-50% on a Feraligatr. Like, it's not a great move. Again, it's fast charging. But at that point, like, you're going to see probably in 4 weeks from now, when the Great League is on again, I'm memeing it up with a triple Shadow, triple starter team. Shadow Venusaur, Shadow Typhlosion, Shadow Feraligatr. All community move Pokemon too. So truly, that's as about a meme as I can go. Sorry, I'm no Callum on toast there, but I mentioned that in my Typhlosion video. Like, it's crazy how fast it gets that Thunder Punch, and it's crazy how hard this hit. And it's the same. Like, it was the same again. Like, Typhlosion is like carrying that team. It's actually it's quite strong. Again, I still don't put it in the top like 50 Pokemon. I think there's other Pokemon I would use, but it does hit so hard. So yeah, so a few more battles here, I think. Actually, probably more than a few. I talked like for 7 minutes at the beginning. 5 more minutes of battles. So there's your flyer. There's your Sand Slash. Should I come Lickitung? Yep. Was that a misclick? Yep. Yeah, come Lickitung, because at least licks are neutral as opposed to every single thing here which is resisted. That was just a mistake. I know I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. And again, you have no moves for steals in the back. I've already acknowledged this, so you might want to change that up. But they do actually recommend Lickitung as an answer for this. And this is this is the problem with just ice Pokemon in general, but especially just a pure ice. There's so many things you need to try and account for. And that's why I like Dugong. Like, at least with Dugong, you have that steel coverage, right? You neutralize the steel from the Skarmory and the Empoleon, but mostly the Skarmories, because Skarmories are everywhere. And you hit super effective against other steels. Like, you have the Icy Wind for neutral there. But you hit super effective against other steels. So, yeah. It was fine to test out. But like this is the perfect example of like why you need to take PvPoke rankings with a grain of salt, and you need to come here to my channel so I can give you a beyond the hype about what is actually going on with these Pokemon. Because again, when you see Cetitan at rank 100 and you see Typhlosion at rank 242, not a freaking chance. Like, I'm putting Typhlosion in the top. Like right around 50, and I'm putting this Pokemon probably way lower than 100, quite honestly. In fact, here are all the other ice Pokemon I would rather use before this. So Abomasnow, what is actually ranked above it in terms of ice is Abomasnow, Sandslash, Arctibax, the Sea Total, Walrein, and Aurorus, and I would use all those before. Here's what's ranked below it that I would still use before it: Ninetales, Dugong, Froslass. Hell, I like Celio better than I like this. And they mostly have the same moveset. And then the rest of the ice suck. Because ice is not a good typing. Someone posted an interesting comment. I'm going to go a bit off script here because we're 3 minutes left and I've mostly covered this Pokemon. Someone mentioned an interesting comment so I always said there's always 3 things that affect. If Pokemon Go wanted to even the field, they could very easily do it just by looking at stat product, typing, and moveset, like and fix the moveset accordingly, right? Typing, look at the stat product and move accordingly. So, for example, fire, ice, grass, electric. Make sure that these typings, I'm wondering if there's any other typings off the top of my head, but make sure these 4 typings minimum, maybe you can argue bug 2, make sure those Pokemon, if you want them playable in the Great League, make sure they have good movesets. Because if you don't, these typings are all crap in the grand scheme of things for the Great League. So that's one way they can actually balance out this game, is like get these typings that have like a ton of weaknesses, very little resistances, main meta everywhere, and try to give them a moveset. And I guess this is their first attempt at getting a Powder Snow. And again, I don't know what the main series games movesets are. So I can't be like, give this Pokemon this move, because people are like, this Pokemon does not have that move in the main series games. So you can't just like give Pokemon willy-nilly whatever you want. But there's got to be a way to try to balance the meta, right? There's a reason that water is always so dominant. Because fire and grass, because the fire and grass strengths that you get in the main game series do not translate to Pokemon Go. And grass and fire are generally crap typings in Pokemon Go. So they need to, if you want to use a fire Pokemon, you need to make sure that it has secondary typing or an insane moveset. And that's why Skeletors gets away with it, because it has a ghost typing and good movesets and decent stat product. That's why Typhlosion is starting to get away with it, because it's got the best fast move in the game, Blast Burn, which is one of the best charge moves in the game, and it deals just like crazy damage as the Shadow. So yeah, I wish they would like try to take into consideration some of these other factors in transferring over the main game into GPL, because then you can get a much more balanced meta if you just think about it, as opposed to just having like your water Pokemon and a bunch of Pokemon with crazy stat products and decent movesets dominating the meta, and that's what we get. So Cetitan, again, when would I use it? I would use it if it's a weird limited meta and it's allowed in. I would use it if I didn't have those other Pokemon that I mentioned. Like, there's not a ton of reason to use it, quite honestly, even in the state of the meta. Because again, if you cover some flyers, yes, it'd be nice if you can like get this on a Gligar or stuff like that. But then the second that Gligar is paired with like a Lantern, or it's paired with an Annihilate, or it's paired with like something else, you're immediately losing any secondary matchup. So that was the sort of big weaknesses with this. So I know yesterday I missed, again, I was just busy with work and I couldn't get to shooting a video, so I just used one of the other videos I already shot. So I already have another Altaria video shot. That'll probably be tomorrow morning, but then I'm going to try to like triple up on viewer submissions for the rest of this week. So I think tomorrow afternoon, this afternoon, which is Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, and then like double up on Friday with viewer submissions, because I saw a ton of them come in. I'll do the rest of those next time Great League comes around, because I can just get ahead on videos. That's actually like one of the benefits of this, is that if I have a bunch of like videos from you guys this season, I could just like shoot them well in advance, so I don't have to like go crazy during that week. But yeah, so, and then Saturday will be league turnover, so I'll do top teams then. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.